Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Says she came to see the girl who managed to make him forget her, noting that Yun seems sweet and innocent, unlike him. Cho falls silent, and they start to argue. Meanwhile, Yun's taxi driver takes her to a secluded area. He tells her he's lost and can't find the golf club as there's no signal in the area. Yun decides to get out, convinced she'll find it. Yun tries calling Shuya but can't get through. Suddenly, two men pull up in a car, offering to give her a ride, but when she looks inside their car and sees various suspicious tools, she realizes they're organ traffickers and knows if she gets in, they'll likely turn her into spare parts. Terrified, she thinks quickly and tells them she dropped an expensive bracelet. At the police station, Shuya is extremely worried since Yun is late. Eventually, she calls him crying and tells him she can't make it because she's at the police station. She explains what happened, and Shuya is frantic. He grabs his cousin, and they rush to the station. When Shuya arrives, Yun sees him and apologizes, asking if she ruined his work. Shuya angrily tells her that work isn't important right now and asks if she's okay. Yun, still shaken, says she almost became a human kebab. She then approaches him, tears in her eyes, and he comforts her. As she tries to stand, she nearly collapses and Shuya supports her, realizing her leg is injured from running. The police officer then shows Shuya the surveillance footage from the area. She managed to escape and found two security guards at a nearby factory who helped her. However, they suspected the men were after her and stole her bag before running off. Shuya is furious and vows to look after Yun from now on. He insists she shouldn't go to isolated places again, and she agrees, feeling grateful. She starts praising him, saying, you come off as cold, but you're really kind inside. This makes him happy. Then she starts talking about Cho, mentioning how his family loved her and even gave her a bracelet as a gift. Shuya gets jealous and tosses the bracelet on the ground. She confronts him, saying, if you're into me, I'm not into you. You're handsome and all, but you're not my type, and there's no way I'd ever fall for you. Shuya is silent for a moment, thinking. Then he responds, look at yourself, how could I ever be into you? Just then, his cousin arrives and introduces himself as the marketing manager, with Shuya by his side. Yun is mortified, thinking all her assumptions were wrong, and mentally scolds herself for what she said earlier. Shuya then tells her to get in the car, and they continue the charade, with his cousin talking business on the way to her house. When they arrive, Shuya's cousin hands him the car keys and says goodbye. Shuya approaches Yun's house, but no one answers the door. He tells Yun to call her parents. She agrees and calls her mom, who casually tells her they're out at a hotel for the night and hangs up. Yun is shocked and doesn't know what to do. She lies to Shuya, saying her mom is in the shower and her dad is in the other bathroom. She tells him to leave and that they'll open the door for her soon. Shuya pretends to leave, but when Yun tries calling Cho, he doesn't answer because he's with his ex Sheena. Arriving at his house, Yun hops around because of her injured leg. She tries to apply ice to the swelling but struggles to do it properly. Shuya steps in to help, and Yun finds herself staring at him, lost in thought. She then asks how much the bracelet Cho's mom gave her might be worth. When Shuya tells her a high price, she tries to take it off. They struggle with it, using soap to help, and in the process she accidentally slips and spills soap on him. Shuya playfully sprays her with soap, and they end up joking around. Yun then asks to take a shower, so Shuya gives her some clothes to wear. She assumes they belong to his girlfriend and feels awkward but doesn't say anything. After she showers, Shuya suggests she sleep in his room, but Yun insists on sleeping in the guest room. When she gets there, she's surprised to find it doesn't have a bed. What's this, she asks. Shuya explains there's no bed in there and offers his room again, saying he'll sleep on the couch. She tells him not to worry and says she'll sleep on the couch. He agrees, but when she realizes he took her seriously, she laughs, saying, I was just messing with you. I'll sleep in your room like you said. She goes to his room to sleep. The next morning, Yun is startled to find Shuya picking her up and hiding her in the closet. Confused, she asks why he's doing this. Shuya whispers for her to stay quiet as he's hiding from his sister, who shouldn't see her. However, his mischievous nephew opens the closet door, revealing them. The nephew innocently asks, what are you and Auntie doing in the closet? Shuya remains silent, but then his sister Shin arrives. She sees them and is immediately embarrassed. Thinking Yun must be Shuya's girlfriend and that the child is their illegitimate son, She heads to the kitchen to make breakfast and Yun tries to leave, but Shin insists she stays and eats with them. Yun tries to decline, saying she isn't hungry, but the little boy interrupts, "Not hungry. I can hear your stomach growling from here. Come on, let's eat." Yun reluctantly agrees and sits down. While they're eating, Shin tells Shuya that she came over to drop off her son for the day. The boy asks Yun what she does for a living, and she tells him. She's an artist at Shuya's company. He then asks her to draw him an animal, so she does. After playing with him several times, the boy starts to like her, and Shin notices how kind Yun is. Yun quickly finishes her meal and tries to leave, but Shuya stays behind to talk with his sister. He asks her what she thinks of Cho's new girlfriend, and Shin responds, "She seems nice like Cho, not like me." As Yun walks away, she wonders if Cho or Shuya will show up to take her home. Just then, Shin pulls up and offers her a ride. Chatting with her without revealing that she's Cho's ex-girlfriend, she takes Yun to the hospital, where the doctor tells Yun she needs to rest for 3 days until the swelling in her leg goes down. Yun protests, saying she can't afford to take time off work, but Shin takes her home anyway. When they arrive, Yun thanks Shin, noting that she's kind just like Shuya, even though she comes across differently. After Shin leaves, the boy tells Shuya that Cho invited him out for pizza and promised to take him out every Thursday, but told him not to tell his mom. The boy adds, Cho is a nice guy. Shuya is surprised and realizes that Cho still has feelings for his sister Shin. When Shin returns home that evening, Shuya tells her what the boy said and then takes the boy to her car so they can go home. The next day at work, Yun chats with her friend about what happened the day before. She mistakenly switches the conversation from private to group chat without noticing. She says it looks like Shuya has an illegitimate son. Everyone in the group chat is shocked, including Shuya, who responds, "I'm Shuya, and I didn't know that about myself." Yun realizes her mistake and is horrified. She rushes to apologize to Shuya, but he isn't upset with her at all. Then his secretary arrives to remind him of an external meeting. As Shuya leaves, Yun notices he forgot his laptop, so she hobbles on one leg to catch up with him and hands it over. Seeing her struggle, Shuya tells her to rest and work from home for a few days, sending him updates on her project daily. She happily agrees. Yun then returns to her friends, who ask her what happened. She tells them she'll be working from home for a few days, and they ask what happened with Cho. She slips up and reveals that she was at Shuya's house. Her friends are shocked and start asking for more details, but Yun refuses, saying she won't spread any more rumors about her boss. She leaves them and heads home, where she tells her uncle about her work-from-home arrangement. She starts working from home and sends Shuya regular updates on her project. At the end of the week, Shuya keeps video calling her. She teases him, saying it's the weekend. "Aren't you going to eat?" He replies, "No, and don't you dare hang up the call." He keeps making excuses to stay on the call with her. Then Yun's mom calls out to her, saying Cho is here. Yun panics and tries to get up, accidentally moving her phone but forgetting to end the call. Her mom enters the room and says, "I invited Cho over to get to know us, just like you got to know his family. Get dressed and come out." She leaves the room and Yun's face turns pale. Shuya, still on the video call, is furious. When Yun comes out, her father scolds her. "How can a girl leave with you perfectly fine and come back limping?" Yun sits down, and before she can explain what happened, Cho steps in and says, "It's my fault. We were playing a game, and because of me she got hurt. I'm really sorry." They all sit down to eat, and afterward Cho goes with Yun to her room. Shuya is still sitting there, anxious about what might happen between them. Yun explains everything to Cho, telling him how she encountered organ traffickers on her way to meet her boss and how they almost turned her into shawarma if it weren't for divine intervention. Cho is shocked and apologizes for not being there for her that night and for not answering her calls. She tells him, "No, it's okay. That was my mistake. Not yours." She then explains that she had to spend the night at her boss's house. He understands and trusts that nothing happened between her and her boss. He leaves, and when she picks up her phone, she's shocked to see Shuya still on the call. She exclaims, "What? You're still on the call?" He casually replies, "It's for work. I also entertain myself by listening to your boring conversation with your boyfriend." She scolds him. "Is that appropriate? These are people's private matters." Shuya retorts, "Private matters? You've exposed all my secrets at the office, and I never said a word about it." She sighs. "You never forget, do you?" She then tells him she'll send the project updates via email and abruptly ends the call. A few days later, Shuya drops by the office.